Welcome back to the weekly Brooklyn Property Market Report, brought to you by Engel & Volker's Brownstone, Brooklyn. My name is Katriona, and of course I'm joined again today by Donald Brennan. Good afternoon, Donald, and happy Thanksgiving week.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Katriona. Good to see you. I showed up here earlier today. There was a long line across the street, still there. I actually thought it was for the doctor's office down in the corner for people getting their COVID test, but no, it's for the butcher, which is great news. We have a fantastic butcher called Staubitz across the street here. It's been there since about 1917. So it was great to see people lining up for those prime meats for the holidays.
Exactly. So as we look at last week's data, and of course, we're now entering into the thick of the holiday season. So what will be interesting is whether or not what we see over the next 4 weeks actually reflects what we would typically expect to see from seasonality. So let's look at the new to market and in contract transaction activity for those properties below 2.25 million and the luxury market above 2.25 million. So Donald, let's start off with, were there any notable transactions you want to mention off the bat?
Sure is, yeah, and you'll know about it as much as I do, Katriona. It's the townhouse we have as an exclusive listing in Fort Greene at 16 South Portland. You and I have been marketing that property for a little bit of time now and moved it into contract, which is fantastic for our selling client. And we were the only firm to actually put a listing into contract last week above the $4 million threshold. So congrats, great job. Client's very happy, and we're looking forward to a smooth trip here to the closing table.
Definitely. So what usually happens the week before Thanksgiving in terms of level of activity? And does last week's data actually reflect that typical seasonality, or does it reflect more of the somewhat unusual world of COVID catch-up real estate that we've been finding ourselves in lately?
Yeah, excellent question. I would think, typically this time of year, people are kind of winding up their searches, getting more settled to go into the holiday season. A little different dynamic right now. We have the still pent up demand out there. People looking to move on to their next property due to being on the sidelines through the pandemic here. So a couple things going on there. I was at an open house last Sunday. 2 days ago, had 6 different couples show up. 3 were scheduled, 3 weren't. Just sensed that there was some urgency there, which was great. So, so again, a little different. We'll see if this carries through the holiday into December, which would be a little break from what's happened in the past.
Exactly. So if we look at the in contract activity, condos, co-ops, townhouses, where was the most activity last week?
Yeah, so on the in contract activity, condos were showing the most demand above the 2.25. Not a lot of deals happening there at any given week, but for resales in October, we had 1.5 deals on average per week. That bumped up to 2 deals per week in November. Sponsor units 1.5 in October on average per week, moving up to 2.3 on average per week in November. So trending up there. Below the 2.25 line, resales in October on average 23 going into contract, stable into November, 23 on average as well. But new sponsors units, big change there, 10 on average going into contract in October per week. And then November, 16 on average going into contract per week, a 50% increase from November, from October to November.
So are we still seeing that the below 2.25 million market is significantly more active than the luxury end of the market? And does that mean that we might be heading into a potential inventory problem?
Well, there's certainly more properties for sale at any given time below the 2.25, as we know, right? Our luxury segmentation, which is above the $2.25 million mark, is about 15% of the market. So on volume side, it's much more, many more properties out there below the number. Both are kind of on average, on a percentage basis, trending down here. The luxury end a little more than the below the 2.25. In the luxury segment, 20 deals new to market in October on average, 14 in November on average. So almost 30% decrease there. Below 2.25, 73 on average for October, 62 on average for November, 16% decrease there. So both trending down. We'll see if this does become an inventory problem where demand stays the same or does not decrease to the same amount, same percentage that these new to market listings are experiencing right now.
So finally, any tips, and I don't mean holiday shopping tips, I mean real estate tips, for those people who are possibly thinking about whether or not they should list their properties now before we get to the end of the year, or wait until January 21, or a little later? And what sort of factors do you think they should think about while they're trying to make that decision?
So if you're in the market, I strongly suggest you stay in the market if it's not inconvenient for you. We've all generally been home in our homes for quite some time here now, and been doing showings and getting by with that. So if you're there, I would suggest stay there, because if others have decided to remove their home from the marketplace, your property then stands out a little more with a decreased inventory to compete against, if the buyer pool stays the same or does not decrease to a same degree that the number of listings does. So I'd stick it out there if you're in the market. If you're not, and you're thinking about getting up and running soon, I would think about doing that sooner rather than later in the new year. I would not wait longer to the typical kind of dates, which are, Super Bowl Sunday in February or later, and try to get up and running right away, because we see quite a few buyers out there still. And again, if you can place your asset in a marketplace with depressed inventory and stable or rising demand, you're going to do better.
So that's it from us. Check back in next week, of course, for more accurate and informed observations on the Brooklyn property market. So Donald, do you want to take us out with a few final comments?
Yeah, and again, the reminder we always give, we're here for you to lean on and ask questions. Had to provide answers the best we can. Katriona and I are always available. Our contact info is at the end of this video. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Our advice is free. Our knowledge, is ready, willing, and able to share with you. And we're talking, on these segments about highlights of what's happening in the market. But as you know, everybody's circumstance is different, and we are prepared to speak with you personally and craft a strategy and provide information that is personal to your specific needs, whether buying, selling. If you're a landlord, don't hesitate to reach out. We can help you with exactly what you are trying to achieve.
Great. So goodbye from me, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.